Okay. Hi, I'm Deborah Saavedra with Legal Office Guru, and this is the first official YouTube Live. And in today's video, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that some of you asked me yesterday. Just do a very quick session here in preparation for doing, resuming rather, the 13-minute Thursdays. So I'm going to answer one question about Word and another one about Excel that you guys emailed me yesterday. So I'm going to switch over to Word first, and we'll deal with that question first. You should be able to, by the way, if you're joining us sort of midstream, you should be able to scroll this back in the video player and start at the beginning so you can kind of catch up. By the way, if we've not met, I teach lawyers and other legal professionals how to use Microsoft Office better. And so I'm going to share my screen now. It's going to take me just a moment, but I'm going to go to Word first and address the first question that someone asked me, namely, how do I delete section breaks in a way that doesn't destroy my document? So let me see if I can switch over. And you should be able to see a Word document up on the screen here. I'm going to check and make sure that that's actually the case. Okay, it looks like it's switching over to Word. I'm going to zoom this in a bit. And I hope you can still hear me. One of the questions I got asked yesterday, and let me go back to the question and look at it. I had someone who was formatting a 65-page document, and there were continuous section breaks like the one that's sitting here, littered all through the document. And she said that every time she deleted one of the section breaks, it completely messed up her formatting. And I'll show you what's going on here, or at least my interpretation of what's going on here. I've got my cursor just sitting right before that continuous section break. And when I hit delete, you notice that the paragraph next to it just jumps right on up into that first paragraph and adopts the formatting of the paragraph that was just before it. And that was not the result that she was wanting to get. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo, and I'm going to show you how to safely get rid of a section break. So I've got my cursor right before the section break. I'm going to press the Enter key and put in a hard return. And now when I hit delete, you notice nothing happens to that following paragraph. So if there is a continuous section break, or even a next page section break for that matter, that's in your document, you want to go ahead and put some sort of a breaking character like an Enter key, a hard paragraph break, to ensure that the paragraph before and after actually continue to look the way that they have. By the way, if you're not familiar with section breaks, they're on the Layout tab under Breaks. But I may be able to point you to some content on my site about those. So that was the first question that I'd gotten. And I hope that helps this person. She sounded to be pretty desperate about trying to edit this document and not screw anything up. So I'm going to go now over to Excel. If I can get there. And jump over to Excel here. And the question that I had gotten is this one. He says, clients often love to use Excel for capturing text, many rows and columns. Many cells have tremendous amounts of text. Reading and using it on screen, very challenging, even with 2 monitors. Question, best tips for extraction to Word or the like without using the context of the rows and columns. While it is possible to copy or even embed an Excel spreadsheet into a Word document, it's not something I'd recommend, particularly when you're dealing with a very, very large document, or very, very large spreadsheet rather, because it can really lock up your Word document and cause some real problems. If the presenting problem is that you can't really review things, you can't get them to look like text, or to be able to view all of the text, there's a couple of things you're going to want to do. Number one, and this obviously isn't an example of one that's got a tremendous amount of text in a single cell, but you can select these cells and wrap text. And that's on the Home tab, and it's here just for wrap text. Now you notice that this actually says attorney-client privilege, but that's not visible. So if you want to make sure that all of that is visible, if you click up here in the upper left-hand corner and select the entire spreadsheet, and then you notice when I hover my mouse on the border between 2 of the columns, or 2 of the rows rather, it turns into a double arrow with a line in between it. If I double click here, that will adjust the row height so that all of the contents of the cell are visible. The same thing is true for columns. If, for example, one of these columns was a little too short to show all of the contents, I could select the entire cell, double click on the border, and really, if you've selected the entire spreadsheet and you just double click on any of these row borders, or column borders rather, it will self-adjust everything. So that's one trick you can use. Now I'm going to switch over to a different spreadsheet, because this person mentioned that viewing a very large spreadsheet, even with 2 monitors, was very difficult, and wanted to make sure that he could keep the context of the columns and the rows. I'm going to switch over to a different spreadsheet. And this is the one that I use for training people to print and view large spreadsheets. So you notice that as I scroll down and to the right, that I completely lose the context of where I am in this particular document. I don't know what the categories are, because the categories are all in column A, and I don't know what the fiscal periods are, because those are all in rows 1 and 2. So I'm going to use Control Home, that's hold down the Control key and hit the Home key, go all the way back up to the top. And what I want to do is put my cursor, in this example, in cell B3, because that's the first column of actual data, as opposed to the column and row headings. And then I want to go to the View tab and click Freeze Panes. Now you've got 3 different selections here. The second and third one are really good for just a quick and dirty if you just want to freeze the top row or freeze the first column and be able to scroll up and down or sideways. You can do that. In this particular instance, I'm going to use this first entry, which is going to freeze the panes above and to the left of where I have my cell currently placed. You notice what's happened here is we've got a solid line across the top showing that these 2 rows are now frozen, and then a solid line going down the left showing that this first column is frozen. And when I scroll down, you notice I can still see those first 2 columns, or the first 2 rows. And when I scroll across, I can still see column A, which shows me what category I'm in. So I would suggest that instead of attempting to bring an Excel spreadsheet into a Word document to try to get it to the point where you can actually read it, that you use some of these tools within Excel, such as freeze panes, to make sure that you can actually read it within Excel. Like I said, if it's a very, very large spreadsheet, pulling this into Word is possibly going to crash your Word document. So it may be better to go ahead and put that freeze panes feature to work rather than trying to pull this over into Word. Now I'm going to start a new Word document here real quick. And then I'm going to share that one. And I will show you on the, I believe it's on the Insert tab. If you just really, really wanted to insert an Excel spreadsheet, you could insert table and then go down to Excel spreadsheet and do something there. You could also, if you had a spreadsheet that you had copied, you go to the Home tab, click on the Paste button, and click on Paste Special. Now, if I had an Excel spreadsheet, in fact, I'm going to go out for a moment and just pick up this entire privilege log that I have, and then go back to my Word document. If I were to go over here and do Paste Special, you notice how many more choices I have here now. But I'm going to go to Paste Special because it recognizes that somewhere within my clipboard, that last entry is in fact a Microsoft Excel worksheet. And I could choose that and insert it. Now you notice it's sort of bleeding off the end of the page. You would have to kind of work with this a bit, maybe give it some smaller margins, etc. But that's the problem that you have a lot of times with pulling in Excel spreadsheets into Word documents, is you don't necessarily get the best formatting. But if you if you notice, it's sort of bleeding off the end of the page here. So that's why I really don't recommend attempting to pull these things into Word if it's only for the sake of reading them. Now, if you have a small spreadsheet that's doing some calculations and you want to put that into the middle of a document, it'll work a lot better that way. So anyway, I'm going to go back out here and see if anybody has posted any questions. And we've got a few people watching, so that's good. But I wanted to just answer a couple questions that that I got by email when I asked for questions yesterday. I know I didn't give everybody a lot of time to come up with something or to respond to that little quick survey, but I just wanted to answer those two questions and see if those two tips would help anybody. So I am going to end it there. So I appreciate those of you who stopped by to view the live stream, and I will be talking to you later.